Few cities get the opportunity to rebuild a new portion of their downtown from scratch, and we intend to make the most of it. Now, we have some images that you're about to see, and these have never been shown in public before. These represent changes that we foresee for the land that is south of downtown between I-40 and the river and what's called the core-to-shore planning process. So from the core of downtown to the shore of the Oklahoma River. That's roughly 600 acres. It stretches about a mile from downtown to the river, and it's undergone a significant, inclusive planning process. Now, before we look at the images, we have an aerial of the core-to-shore area. This is kind of orient you, and I know it's kind of small, but you get the idea. That's the new I-40 going across the middle there of the map, and then you see the river at the bottom, and the new boulevard, the existing I-40, is kind of about a third the way down, and you see some of those envisions. What you're seeing here is a plan that we envision being built out over the next 25 or 30 years. Much of it, the retail, the office towers, the neighborhoods, the residential towers, will all be driven by the private sector. So what you're really about to see is a sneak preview. The final presentation of this won't be released until May, so you're seeing a futuristic shot of it. The architectural choices are not really intended to represent anything specific, but really just to inspire our collective imagination. So any names you see, any architectural choices you see are really just placeholders. Now let me caution you, I'm about to show you pictures of your city in the future, and you're not going to recognize it. So brace yourself. Even if you're the most downtown or most dedicated downtown observer, you may have a hard time orienting yourself, so I'll try to help. Remember, this isn't Oklahoma City tomorrow. This is Oklahoma City 20 years from tomorrow. Let's take a look. This is the convention center, projected to be at the southeast corner of the Boulevard and Robinson. This is the retail element that would be on the north side of the boulevard between Hudson and Robinson, with the potential office towers that would be on the boulevard. Another look at some of the developments north of the boulevard here. And then looking east down Southwest 2nd Street. Here we get an aerial view looking into the towers on the north side of the boulevard, panning south across the boulevard into the park. That's the convention center on the right. Here we're looking northeast at the convention center, and downtown from the event center that's envisioned just east of Union Station. Heading south now through the park, that's the convention center off in the background. Now this is on the boulevard in Bricktown, just south of the Harkins Theater, heading west. And then we flip the camera around, still heading west, but the camera's looking back the other way. Notice a future mayor has handled the traffic congestion issues. Hardly any cars on that street. Now we're on a train ride along the convention center heading south, looking west across the park. The event center, that body of water, is not there today. Aerial view looking down at the new I-40. It's up the upper left part of your screen, heading south through the southern half of the park. And then you see the residential areas to the west and then down to the river. And this is on a very fast boat ride. The Devon Discovery with an extra motor, heading west down the river, looking north toward downtown. Residential towers that might someday be placed along the river. And from the air, we're looking north. You'll see the pedestrian bridge here shortly that goes over the river. And now as we elevate, there you see the projected image of your Oklahoma City of the future. How about that? No doubt about it, that river is very important to our future. The primary public components of all this would be the boulevard, the park, and the convention center. And I'll sum it up by repeating my familiar theme. We are building a city. We are creating a city where people want to live. Now, remember, I-40 as we know it is going away. It'll be moving a few blocks to the south. The I-40 corridor will be replaced by a boulevard, and that should really change the perspective of our sports arena. With the improvements coming to the core to shore, and with the boulevard taking the place of I-40, the front door of the Ford Center really changes from the north side of the building along Reno to the south side of the building along the boulevard, which moves us into a new and much larger conversation about the improvements that we need to make at the Ford Center and setting up the stage for an NBA franchise. Back in 1993, when the citizens in this community passed maps, they began strolling down a long path toward becoming a big league city. First, we built an arena, and that investment allowed us to secure a one-year lease with the Hornets in 2005. Our support for that team exceeded all expectations, even mine, and you were responsible for all of that. You showed us and you showed the rest of the world with investments in our facilities, we could be a big league city. That season went so well that we had another one-year lease with the Hornets. And so now, after 2 seasons of hosting the Hornets franchise in our city, the NBA is ready to consider us for a permanent franchise. So no longer are we talking about a one-year lease. We're talking about a permanent franchise of our very own. And as you know, the Sonics have applied to relocate to Oklahoma City, and the NBA's relocation committee is going to review that application in April. And so this time, we're not talking about a one-year lease, and we are now in a process that we did not have to go through when the Hornets came here temporarily. For us to receive the best possible consideration from the relocation committee for a permanent franchise, we're going to have to convince them to our commitment to improve our sports arena. We simply cannot expect the NBA to make a long-term commitment to us unless we're ready to make a long-term commitment to our facilities.